Good morning, everybody. Today, I'm joined by two-sport varsity athlete, Sebastian Gallardo. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So my first question for you is, what are your personal goals for this upcoming season?
So this season, I want to keep being disciplined, as it's something I've worked on since my freshman year, and it's always something you can improve on.
How have you grown as a player since freshman year?
You know, my freshman year was my first ever year of football. I've never played Pop Warner or anything, never been in any clubs or anything. So it was something really new to me. And that season, I was dealing with a heart condition that put me out of action for a little while. So going from that to my sophomore year, where I swung off from JV and varsity, to finally starting my junior year, that meant a lot. And it shows my growth as a player and as a leader going into next season.
100%. So what's your pregame routine to get mentally ready for games?
So before a game, I would plop in my AirPods, I'd play some music, because that will always get me hyped up. You know, I'll tape everything that I need to get taped, because that'll, keep me well during the game. I'd also, plop some ibuprofen in, because it really does help me during the games.
Yes, I see. So are there any younger teammates that have caught your eye this offseason?
There's a lot of up-and-comers. So there's people such as Javon Mogier and Amrit Mann. They've been working really hard this past season, such as scout team and stuff. I'm excited to see what they can do next year. And there's also others like Aaron Achampong, another up-and-comer, Brad Lee, Jean-Baptiste. Anyone can come and take the throne.
Yes, so speaking of the line, how does our offensive and defensive line compare from last season to next season?
This offensive line this year, we were pretty inexperienced. We had people playing new positions they've never played before. And at the start of the season, we started a little iffy. We had to get used to everything. And as the season progressed, we've developed into just good linemen. And you can see that in our run game as the season progresses. And, the line consisted of 4 juniors and 2 seniors rotating in. So you could see that we were, quite new to this. And with those 4 juniors returning next year as starters, hopefully everything goes well, we can be a big powerhouse.
Yes, I agree. So what was the team's biggest strength going into next season?
I think our experience will be our biggest strength. Everyone's had their reps on varsity, and we'll have some leaders stepping up. We'll have some new people coming up, like freshmen and some sophomores playing varsity now. That'll definitely help us.
Yes, so I'd like to speak on your experience as a lineman. What would you say is the hardest part of playing your position?
It's definitely the stress that comes with it. You're dealing with contact every play. You're always focusing on missing a block and just starting the playoff. It all starts up front.
So you'd say it's mentally tough?
It's very mentally tough.
Yeah, that's right. So what do you think separates a great lineman from a good lineman?
The aggression and your passion for the game. The aggression comes from how strong you are, how agile you can stay, how fast you can come off the ball, and the passion is just for the game. If you don't have that passion, it'll never work out. So that's a big thing going to playing football. That's why I give a lot of credit to the linemen, not just the linemen, just everyone in general who plays football. It's a very tough sport.
I would agree there. So what's your next step after high school if football isn't an option?
I want to go to school for civil engineering, as it's something I want to, major in. I want to have a job, a career for. But, football will always have a special place in my heart, and I'd be honored to play college football.
Right, right. So, would you give any advice to any younger linemen?
It's never too early to start training. You can get quicker, you can get more agile, study some plays from the past. That'll always keep you prepared. And doing that separates you from the rest. Keeps you experienced, gets you just better in general.
100%. Well, that's all I have for today, folks. Thank you for joining me, Sebastian,
Pleasure to be here.
and have a ramtastic day.